Okay, let's go through the last part, which is transformations of functions, and we're going to put everything together. So we're going to move things up, down, left, right, negative, flip it over the x-axis, flip it over the y-axis. We're going to do a lot of different things, make it go down faster, make it go down slower, whatever it is that we're taking a look at, we're going to do in this particular section. So I know that the book really kind of teaches a lot of different things where we're looking at different values and they talk about these terms. I'm going to kind of stay away from them because I don't think they benefit or help much. But if we're looking at something like this, what does it do? And we can look at this particular function and we can see, or these particular functions, and we can see what's happening. This one goes up one. It does not shift left or right because there's nothing in there subtracting or adding. It does flip over the y-axis, so that means that absolute value function is going to be going down, and it's going to go down, twice as fast. Okay, so we can kind of look at all those different values and see what happens. In this particular case, this function is a parabola. It's going to go down one. Does not move left or right in any possible way, and it goes up 3 times faster. So we can see that it is going up 3 times faster. And what's nice about this is that a good way to kind of predict and see what's really happening is go to Desmos and see what's happening inside of Desmos. So we can actually see what's happening in there. So a good thing to do is to go to Desmos.com. And of course, log into your student account, go to Graphing Calculator, and we can type it in. So I want you to see how to do this because I think it's really important to predict things and see what it looks like. So we're going to do this first one. So f of x in this case, so f of x equals, so we'll do f of x equals, and we'll do the absolute value. And we can do the absolute value by using the key, which is right above the backslash key, or above the enter key, I guess I should say, in the shift mode. And so we can say 2x, and then close it out, and then plus 1. And then, of course, notice what happens when I do the plus 1 is that it shifts it up 1. And notice if I get rid of the 2, it goes up over 1, up 1. And if I add the 2 back, you can see that it goes up faster. If I put a negative in front, it flips over. Okay, so you can kind of see the order that's happening. So we can see what's going on there. So notice here it goes up 1. So it's going up 1, this is 1, right? Because that's 2. And you can actually look at that point and see what the point is. So we can see what's happening with that particular function. So it makes it nice to be able to just look at it on a graph and see what's really happening and see if our prediction is true. So what about this one in this case? I think it's going to go up 3. It's going to go to the right 2, positive 2, and it's going to go up 4 times faster. And this is going to be a parabola, so 4x minus 2. So 4x minus 2. So we can just open up another one, which is nice, and I can do f of x equals 4 x minus 2, close parentheses. I do the up arrow above the 6 squared, do the down arrow on the right bottom of your keyboard. And then you could also do a right arrow, either one. And then I think it was, plus 3. So notice here what happens is that, and I'm going to get rid of the 4 just for a second, just so you can see what happens. But notice here that the vertex moved up to 2, 3, which is what it should have done, right? Positive 2, positive 3, so it moved in the right direction. And then we go over 1, up 1, and we go over 1, up 1, and then we should go over 2 and up 4. 1, 2, 3, and you can see 4. So that's what it should do because it's squaring all the values. If I do 4, though, it's going to go up twice as fast. It's going to go up 4 times faster. So we can see what's happening with all the different values as we type them in. So that's really nice to be able to look at it and utilize that to check your answers. So that's what we're doing when we're going through all of these. So let's go over and look at the multiple transformations. So we just did that and we kind of walked through it. Now we're going to actually do some problems and actually see what happens as we do it. So what does this one do? This one for sure goes down 5. So it's going to translate down 5. Okay. So it's going to go down 5 units. Okay. We don't have any negatives in here. We don't have a -2, so it doesn't reflect in either of those. We're not going to worry about vertical compression and vertical stretch. I'm not going to worry about those different things. I really want you to understand the translations down, up, reflection. Reflection and y-axis doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If I had a negative there, because it's squared, it's reflecting on the x-axis, but it doesn't change the function. So anyway, this -3 causes it to go to the right 3. So it should go to the right. We're not going to worry about reflections. We're not going to worry about anything else. But in this case, we can kind of see what's happening. So here we know it's going down 5 units. So this one goes down 5 units. This one goes up 5 units. And both of these go down 5 units. So it definitely eliminates B. And then we know that it translates to the right. So this one's translating to the left. This one's, of course, translating to the left, but it went up anyway. But this one's going to the right 3, and this one's going to the right 3. And then the 2 in front is making it go up a little bit faster. So that means it'll go over 1, up 2. This one goes over 1, so it's got to be D. So the answer would be D. Okay, and that's what's happening in those cases. So if you just look at the equation, you can see what's happening. And then remember that you can graph these in Desmos for now and just check your answer before you submit it. Okay, so I'm going to do some more transformations of functions. This one here, we can see what the function looks like. We can see all this information. It's an absolute value function. So normally an absolute value function is going to go up. We're not going to identify any of those values. We just want to see what's happening on the graph. And I guess this one doesn't do a graph, so I'm not going to worry about it. But I can get a general idea of what's happening. So notice here it goes up 45. It goes down, so it translates over the horizontal. And so it should do that in that particular case. Okay, so that's what we can see what's happening with that particular one. And you can graph this one and just see what's happening in Desmos to see what's going on there. So it should make sense as to how it's kind of shifting gears. Okay, identifying an equation from a graph. So let's take a look at how do we look at a graph and then say, okay, which is the equation that matches it? So here is a graph. We can see that it's away from the origin. It moved down 1, and it moved to the right 1. So it down 1 and right 1. So we can go ahead and put that in there. We're going to write that down. So we're going to leave some room so that way we're looking at it. So we're going to say f of x equals. So we know that it went, and this is a parabola, so it's got to be a squared. It went down 1, and it went to the right 1. Okay. So, and we also know it's negative on the outside. So it can't be negative on the inside because it went down. If it was negative on the inside, the squared would have made it positive and made it keep going up. So we know that much information about this one. Okay, so then what else do we know about it? We know that it goes to the right 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So for it to go down, instead of going down 1, it went down 4. That means that the number in front has to be a 4. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to say, okay, what's happening? So we have a 4 on the outside, and that's causing it to translate. And it's going down 4 times as fast. So it's going to be -4 x plus 1 squared minus 1. So we're going to come back and see if that's one of the answers. So -4 times x minus 1 plus a -1. So they make you actually write all that stuff in here. I guess I did this in class. So we're going to check it. We're going to see that the answer is okay. And so that's how we would actually go through and solve it. So now you're going to go in and do your transformations of functions. Don't worry about the names of anything. Just worry about the graphs or the equations that we're graphing. In those particular cases, that's what I want you to learn and get out of this particular section.